From the heart of the Appalachian Hills, nestled in between an outhouse and a moonshine still, comes the twosome of unparalleled levels of cool. She loves her mountain magic and he's a folk-telling carny fool. Prepare to hear legends from Bigfoot to Loki as they try to decipher what in the actual hell is a hokey. She's the black-veiled beauty and my goodness he's got a purty mouth. They've escaped the land of lobsters and returned to the haunted South. Welcome to the Paranormal Sideshow with your hosts, John and Stacey Edwards of ParanormalSideshow.com. Hello and welcome to the Paranormal Sideshow. I'm your host, John Edwards, and joined as always by my lovely wife, Stacey.
Hello.
And I have had quite an interesting week.
Yes.
It's been a little bit of a hard time, if you will. A little bit of I've dealt with a 4 or 5 day migraine. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I don't have it right now. Obviously, we're doing the show. Mm-hmm. But it was something to do, as I mentioned before, had some back things going on and all that good stuff from, the wrestling and all this other stuff I've done throughout my life. Juggling refrigerators and whatever else sideshow strength acts I could put on. But I had this migraine start, and I hadn't had one in a very long time.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. It's been up since Maine. Hadn't really had to deal with it in a very long time, and they're terrible. If you've never had one, God bless you. Hope you never get one. They are not fun. They're not fun for me. They're not fun for Stacey. They're not fun for anyone. So I got one, and you could tell it's coming because back of the neck starts hurting, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's over with. And the next day, though, my neck is just killing me. It's just like this radiating pain deep in my neck and over to my shoulders, and it's so deep and it's horrible, and I just can't get rid of it. And it's a really bad pain. It's such a bad pain that I can't even really describe it now. Because it's so bad, I think I've blocked it out. But then I got the headache back again. And I knew that it was all part of the migraine. You've heard that before. Like, you don't necessarily have to have the headache part to have the migraine. So anyway, long story short, I apologize for the show going a little bit over a week before going in there. We really want to get these boom, 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 week shows coming out. And so that's really on me. Unforced error. Sorry about that. Obviously, some things we've been thinking about doing though will help with that a little bit. So I want to start getting the interviews going. And so on the interview shows, we can go with like 1-2 stories of news and then go straight into the interview. And I think that will be pretty neat.
Yes, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about, we've got some interviews lined up. I've got some really good guests that have already agreed to do it. And I believe we also want to bring back the round table by popular demand. So we're going to dig Alan and Travis up somewhere. We're not sure where they're at, but we'll find the grave slot that they're in.
We'll have to figure out where we buried them.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard sometimes to remember where you bury your friends. But we've buried so many of our friends that, there's a lot of slots we can pick from. And that's a little joke right there. It's a little ha-ha.
Yeah.
So tis the season. It is absolutely the Halloween season. It is the October season.
Yes, it is.
And I love October.
I love it. Halloween, I wish it was more like fall though. It's like it's fall, but it's still like 150 degrees outside. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, that's because we're in the South.
I know.
I was looking at pictures from up north, and the leaves were different colors, and people were going and starting to do like
wearing sweaters,
the fall festivals, and it was all the stuff that we loved about up north. So it's really hard for me right now,
right?
Because I look out here, and I looked earlier, and it was like, oh, hey, the trees are a nice color of poo.
Well, give it about a month when you start seeing the memories where there's all that snow on the ground.
Yes.
And then you'll feel better.
And then I'll be here basking in the 75-degree weather.
Right.
And I'll be like, man, I'm really glad I'm here. I'm so glad I'm here. I'm home wherever I go.
Yes.
And so, it just sucks because I really love the leaves and the leaves blowing on the road and, playing some November rain and just belting through those back roads, the good old days.
Right.
But hey, I did something else crazy.
What's that?
In the midst of all my migraineness, I did a wrestling show, obviously, because that was the smartest thing to do.
Right.
When you haven't been able to move for days. What's the best thing you could do?
Yeah.
Have a cage match.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to a wrestling show.
Yeah. So I was in a cage and it was a pretty interesting story that's been built up there with my wrestling character. And he's an evil bastard. He really is. But this guy that he created, and the cool thing was, like 4 years ago, the wrestling character drowned this poor soul and resurrected him.
Right.
Using magic and created a Frankenstein's monster type thing.
Right.
So then we legitimately moved. So I left the Frankenstein's monster here on his own, right? So when I come back, I kind of shoot the story, me and this guy ourselves. I'm just like, hey, we should really wrap that up.
Right.
There's got to be at least one person out there. And that kind of stuff bothers me.
Right.
The one little kid that was me, because, we come on local television. So I'm always thinking there is a kid that was 10 and is now 14 that remembers, hey, John Hawkins drowned that guy, resurrected him, created this monster, and then left. Yeah, and then left. Where did he go? What happened? So that kind of crap bothers me. So I wanted to do the story back. So we did this really great thing because he's strong as an ox and he is a real giant. He legitimately broke some handcuffs where I handcuffed him to the ring the last time we were there, and which is ridiculous. Yes. And just shredded him, right? Real handcuffs. So this time I was like, you know what? Just slam me into the cage. He's like, are you sure your neck's okay? I'm giving a little bit away here, but suspend your disbelief when the time is necessary.
Right.
But he's like, are you sure? I'm like, dude, I'm going to be okay. So anyway, he gets a hold of me. Okay. And the kid, I've been in that business 18 years. This kid, has been in it a minute, but he's a big, strong, just doesn't know his own strength like me. Right. Like me. Okay. And, so he grabs a hold of me, and oh dear God, it was like I felt everything in my neck just completely go, okay, we're done. See ya. And I got pushed through the cage like hamburger. Blood went everywhere. Quite a picture on the Facebook. But yeah, I got busted open.
You were home a bit early that night.
Yeah, I came home right after the match. I've never done that. I always stay for the entire card because a lot of times at the end we'll shoot our promos and stuff for television after the show. Right. And I didn't even stay for the payoff. I was just like, all right, I gotta go. But it made for a good picture. I mean, there's at least a nice bloody picture. I haven't had one.
There's quite a few interesting pictures from that night.
Oh yeah.
That's quite a few.
Yeah, there's a compromising physician picture. We won't get into that, but hey, you know what we will get into? Being that it is the Halloween season, we always try here at the Paranormal Sideshow to bring you guys some really cool things, like top 10 list or origins of Halloween, or things that are really macabre about the season, and old superstitions and things like that, and like traditional ghost stories, right? So in keeping with that, I thought I'd go a little bit, because obviously we have a couple more shows too before Halloween, hopefully, as long as there's no migraines or anything. But in keeping with all that, I've decided to do something pretty cool. I took a top 10 list as according to Billboard.
Okay.
Of the top 10 Halloween songs.
Oh, okay.
And then I did the top 10 real Halloween songs.
Oh, okay. So I see.
By John.
Right.
Okay. So I thought that would be something good. All right. So how we'll do this is I will give you the Billboard top 10 Halloween songs first.
Okay. And then the real top 10. Halloween
and then John's real, authentic, this is the shiz Halloween top 10. Okay. All right. So number 10, as according to Billboard, This Is Halloween. this is Halloween.
Okay.
Yeah, I seen the blank stare.
Sorry.
I'm
that person that loves songs, but I don't always know the names.
That one should have been pretty simple.
Yeah, it should have been.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Of course, your boy did the cover for it too.
Mm-hmm.
So, number 9, AC/DC and their Satanism and Highway to Hell.
Of course.
Number 8.
Is that really a Halloween song?
No, it is not a Halloween song.
Okay.
Halloween. Will you quit with your properness?
I'm sorry.
It's the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 8, Don't Fear the Reaper by the Blue Oyster Cult, which I also don't believe is a Halloween song.
No, I don't think so.
I'm not so sure it's talking about the actual Grim Reaper. But, anyway. Number 7, yet another classic song, but one I don't believe is a Halloween song, Creep by Radiohead.
That's not a Halloween song.
No, it's not, yet it is the song I've probably sang more than any other song. Mm-hmm. I would dare say, oh no, Black or Creep? Black by Pearl Jam or Creep?
I don't know, probably Creep.
Probably Creep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Number 6, Superstition by that seeing guy who acts blind. Number 5, Werewolves of London by somebody I don't even know the guy's name. I'm sure there's somebody on here that knows.
I'm sure.
You know the song. Mm-hmm. Werewolves of London. Number 4, Deal with the Devil by Pop Evil from 2014. Get out of my life.
I feel like they're just picking songs that say something about hell or the devil, and they're calling them Halloween songs.
I don't know. If they did that, it'd just been 10 Slipknot songs. Number 3, Ghostbusters by Ray Parker Jr.
Okay, see, I get that one.
Kinda.
I mean, it has to do with ghosts.
Yes, it does. And busting, yes.
Yeah.
Number 2, Bobby Pickett and the legendary Monster Mash.
Okay.
I agree. Yes,
go.
I agree with that,
there
right?
There you go. Finally, a Halloween song.
And according to Billboard magazine, number 1 Halloween song, Thriller by Michael Jackson.
Okay.
If you're going with the video, you're going with the Vincent Price voice. It's cool, man. It's zombies. Before zombies were cool. That's back when I liked zombies.
Right.
So now we're going to change things up a little bit.
Okay.
This is what John considers the top 10 real, authentic Halloween top 10 songs.
Right.
Okay. Coming in at number 10, Rockwell with Somebody's Watching Me. What?
No, that's good. That's good.
That's a real, that song used to creep me out, man.
It's definitely creepy.
I always feel like somebody's watching me. Get no privacy. Whoa.
That's because people are watching you.
Yes, they are.
It's the government.
Yes. Number 9, Ozzy Osbourne, and there were so many to pick from there.
Yeah,
but I
really.
like Bark at the Moon.
You just put Ozzy Osbourne on the list.
I mean, I think Bark at the Moon's a Halloween song.
Yes, okay. I can see that.
I wanted to go with Mr. Crowley, but because I've dressed as Crowley before for Aleister Crowley, not Crowley from Supernatural.
Yes.
Although that would be a fun costume.
Yes. Very cool.
Number 8, I put Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue. There you go with your obligatory devil.
Okay, there you go. The devil song.
Well, okay, look. It was my first concert. And when they started with Shout at the Devil at that concert, and the pentagram laser lights went on everybody's face in the whole arena. And I was this little good Christian boy. And all of a sudden I was introduced to Satanism. And all these horns were thrown up.
You were a good little Christian boy.
Well, at the time I was a little kid. And in Sunday school.
Then what were you doing at that concert?
in Sunday school, I met a girl, and she wanted me to go with her. Blame it on the woman. Okay. Well, that woman educated quite a few things that night. No, I mean, that night was so debauchery. I mean, it was like the first weed, the first alcohol, the first...
just all downhill from there, wasn't it?
It's quite a bit of stuff. I'll never forget that girl turning around going, here, you want this? It was like everything from an after-school special. Cody always says, whenever you talk about your life, it always seems like a movie.
Right.
But it's all how it really happened.
Yeah, your teenage years were definitely several after-school specials all mixed into one.
Well, I wanted to have fun. And anyway.
All right. Well, you're allowed that one because, Billboard used Highway to Hell. So.
Yeah. So they should have used Shout at the Devil.
Okay.
It's a better song. Number 7, Night Boat by Duran Duran. Now, that would not be on anybody's list. And it's off Duran Duran's first album.
I don't know enough about Duran Duran.
Okay. So you have to go video on this one.
Okay.
All right. So the video creators, honestly, this was also produced by Godley and Cream, who actually did their Rio and their Hungry Like the Wolf videos as too. Very acclaimed directors for videos, but they did it like an Argento video, it was like a zombie story.
Right.
And it was on the docks, and it's just a creepy kind of thing. So I'm going sort of the black and white video. It's a really creepy vibe. There's a long version of it. Go find it on YouTube. I'm sure it's there.
So you're saying that qualifies it as a Halloween song?
Well, yeah, just because it's creepy.
Okay.
It's creepy.
I mean, this is your list, so
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Number 6, Our Love's in Jeopardy by the Greg Kihn Band.
Okay.
What?
That's a Halloween song.
Yeah, don't you remember the video with the paper mache monster?
Oh, okay.
You know that they're at the wedding chapel, and everybody turns and they're monsters. And
yes.
Okay, you do remember this?
I do.
All right, the big paper mache dragon or whatever for whatever reason.
Okay, I got you.
All right, number 5, Possum Kingdom by Toadies.
I don't even know what that is.
Are you serious?
I probably would if I heard it.
Oh wow. Behind the boathouse, I'll show you my dark secret.
Oh, yeah, I know that song.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Possum Kingdom.
Oh, well, that's just a strange name.
It is.
Okay, I do know that song.
Yes, it's the vampire song.
Yes, okay. I do agree with that, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 4, The Legend of Woolly Swamp by Charlie Daniels Band.
Okay.
That's just a good Halloween party for 8-year-olds.
Right.
Playing that in the background, bobbing for apples. You go down in the woolly swamp, well, you better not go at night. It's just a great song. Number 3, Thriller by Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Number 2, Monster Mash.
So it's number 2 on your list as well.
It's number 2. No, it was number 1 on their list. No, Thriller was number 1 on their list. So yeah, number 2 is the same. We agree with Billboard. Number 1.
Okay.
Halloween by the Misfits.
I mean, the title's Halloween, so.
I mean, it's the greatest Halloween song ever. Listen, if you grew up in a hardcore punk rock bar,
right,
as we did, every Halloween, the band playing had to play Halloween by the Misfits.
Right.
And it's just, here in Danzig, just Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Candy apples and razor blades.
Right.
I mean, it's just, doesn't get much better than that. and I gave a honorary mention, which Billboard didn't do.
Right.
Because they didn't really care. They just threw these together.
Right. They just needed some
Pop
content.
Pop evil. Honorary mention, Rhiannon by Stevie Nicks.
Okay.
Just because, it's a good witch song. I like to have witches and zombies
like
and
Halloween songs for adults.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a good list.
It's a good list.
I'm sure
Definitive Halloween song top 10 list.
Yeah, I'm sure there's other songs out there that could be included. So if you have any ideas out there of Halloween songs that we missed, please, give us something, tweet to us or send us a Facebook message or post it on our wall or something like that. Let us know what your top 10 list is for Halloween songs. And if you have a really kick butt, top 10 list, I'll read it on the next show. So we'll take the best one that we find, because there's a lot probably we didn't think about. So if you got something really cool, I will absolutely give you credit and I will read your top 10 list on the next episode.
There you go.
So if you want to get hold of us, you could probably do that at paranormalsideshow.com. That's your address to find out everything Halloween. Facebook.com/Halloween. Nope.
I'm sure that'll take you somewhere, but
Facebook.com/Paranormal Sideshow. On the Twitter, it's at Sideshow97. Instagram, Hot Filthy Halloween Damn. It's John and Stacey Edwards. And on Patreon, It's that Halloween season for patreon.com/paranormal sideshow. That's where you go find jack-o'-lanterns full of goodness and love. That's right, love and not blood, because this is the lovey season for us. This is like Valentine's Day for creepy people. That's right, come right now and you will find the best sideshow fun that you've ever found ever. They're taking elephants out of the circus, so they're taking elephants off our show and off our page and patreon.com, and none of this makes sense, and that's how I like it. Go and donate to us. Keep us going. Make us do more. We're obligated when you give. When you give, it means we have to actually do it no matter what. And if you want us to keep doing it, then this is the best way to do it. And if you pay enough, we will do it on film and send it to you. Patreon.com/paranormal sideshow. And it really does help everything, because we put it all back into it, baby. We equipment, which we'll just keep adding to it, and we would like to do more shows. We'd like to do all kinds of stuff. So that's the place to go find out, see all the levels, all the good levels. And of course, when the Till Death book comes out, working title, we're going to do something special there too with a level. And speaking of levels, that's not a good segue at all. Paranormal news.
All right, let's get to the news. Okay, so let's start with a story about a UFO sighting.
Ooh, I love UFO sightings.
You do, and
as
this
long as
one,
I'm not the one sighting it. I know I like sighting them, as long as they don't abduct me.
well, this one I just wanted to mention because it actually got picked up by a lot of mainstream media, and it's.
I wish they would pick up mainstream media. Anally probe all of them.
It was a UFO that was spotted over Myrtle Beach.
Oh, that's happened recently too. That's been happening a lot.
It has. And this one actually happened back in August, but the video was just recently uploaded.
Oh.
Just a few days ago. And what happened was there was somebody taking some time-lapse video, taking some photos of a storm coming in over the beach, and when they got home they were going back over their footage and noticed some really strange lights in the sky. And it was time lapse, so they were there for quite some time because you could see them. They were hovering, and so it looked sort of like it could have been a UFO. There was no explanation for where the lights had come from. It's very strange.
Could it have been a drone?
No, I don't think so because of the size of where the lights were spread out. So I'll put a link up to this. You have to go watch the video and see, kind of
what do you think?
decide.
Does it look like a UFO to you?
It's hard to tell because it's very cloudy because there's a storm and it's lightning. So I don't know what it is. It could be.
There's perfect conditions for a UFO. A lot of times we find UFOs in lightning storms. One of the prevailing theories is maybe they're refueling in that lightning somehow.
Right. Well, I will point out that there was a sighting at Myrtle Beach. Like you said, they have had these. They had a very
famous one recently.
And there was one back, it was in the summer sometime.
June, I think.
And that one was actually explained away supposedly by the local military base. Said that they had parachuters doing flare training.
Of course they did.
Yeah, so that was just the official explanation. That doesn't mean that that's what it was.
So they were just like...
But it was another one that was in the same area.
They had parachutes and they were going, woo! Woo! Woo!
Yes, because it's very important to do your Ric Flair training.
Yes, you got to do your flare training. In the military.
Yes. So that was the official explanation because I'm pretty sure that particular sighting, a lot of people saw it. People were really freaked out.
Do you think our neighbors wonder, like...
what goes on here at 2 a.m.? I mean, because, the room that we do this in kind of bumps up against the neighbors, and I'm sure they wonder.
But it's our studio, so we do have soundproofing up and everything because we like to make real studios, And so I still think you can hear my woo, though. I'm
sure you could hear the woo. That was pretty loud.
I bet they could hear your woo sometimes, too.
we won't talk about that. But I will put a link up for this video and definitely go, watch it, see what you think. It's really strange, especially considering it's a time-lapse video.
Yes.
Which I thought was really weird. So along with this weird UFO sighting they had in South Carolina, there was another strange story out of South Carolina recently. And this was about a strange object that washed on the beach at Seabrook Island. And now Seabrook Island is about roughly 100 miles down the coast from Myrtle Beach. Okay. So it's not exactly the same place, but it's the same state. So there's this article with these strange pictures of this huge object, kind of a cylindrical, looking weird object that washed up on the beach on Seabrook Island, and nobody knows exactly what it is. Like, they haven't actually identified it. People that were there on the beach said that the outside is sort of foamy. Right. Which is weird. It is definitely something that's man-made. There's metal in there. Yeah. But nobody can actually say for certain what it is. And I believe that the local authorities came in and collected it and took it off to some undisclosed location.
Of course they did.
That undisclosed location, it must be crowded because that's where they take
everything. A lot of stuff there, right? Parts unknown.
So, so nobody has a chance to see it anymore, but nobody will say what it is or give a definitive.
Oddly enough, with all the stuff I keep up with, I did see a couple of theories on this, and one of them that was the Tiacong or whatever one spacecraft, that Chinese rocket that everybody thought was going to kill us all when it fell,
and it landed in the ocean.
Yeah, the space. You remember the slowest space station falling ever?
Yes, took forever. Yeah, there were people taking bets and showing the maps where it might hit.
Here it comes. It's still coming. All right, here it comes. It's going to hit Michigan. No, it's not going to hit Michigan. So it hit the South Pacific. Well, this is not the South Pacific. That's my only problem with it. I know Hurricane Florence came through and pushed a lot of stuff, but we're talking about the East Coast of the United States of America, not the South Pacific. Okay. Right. So it would have to do some really crazy booking to get from the South Pacific to the East Coast of the United States of America and South Carolina.
Right. That's true. And, we did just recently have the hurricane. That could have washed any number of things up off the ocean floor.
It could have, yeah. So it's hard to tell what it is.
It's hard to tell what it is, and whether or not, people are always ready to scream, oh, it must be UFO or space junk. I think people said space junk or a piece of a satellite. Some people even said that it's some kind of weird buoy that was just out to sea. Or that was broken.
It's some kind of submarine or something. I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But it's very strange. So everybody go look at that picture.
It could be some kind of giant contraceptive.
Wow. I don't want to know who's using that. Shoo.
There once were giants that roamed the earth. And with these giants,
they shouldn't have used
they made God angry when they learned how to use the foam. He wiped them off the face of the earth.
All right. Well, anyway, take a look at the picture. It's very strange. And I just think it was weird that they came and took it away and didn't offer any explanation for it.
Yes. So anyway. They want that DNA.
They want to reverse engineer that thing.
They're like, yeah, we know it's here. I'm still pissed about that woolly mammoth and all that crap they're trying to clone.
I know.
I still can't get over it. That's ridiculous.
And putting them out and all the other,
And let's talk about something else about this stupid show we do.
Okay.
We had like 2 shows in a row where almost every story was about blood-sucking animals. And nobody picked up on it.
Right.
I'm very disappointed in all of you. I expected somebody to get a hold of me and go, hey, John, do you think it's weird about all the blood-sucking animals? It was like Vampire City for like two shows.
It was.
That one show was just like all vampires.
And it's not. I mean, I haven't seen another story about it. It's just like for a while there, it was all
the animals got the blood sucked out of them,
and then nothing. Do you know? I haven't actually gotten one single clown story yet. Usually by this time, we're all knee deep in clown stories.
I saw a clown story and I didn't send it to you. Because you can take your clown stories and do them on your other show. Oh, that's right. You don't have another show, so I don't guess you can do your clown story.
I'm just going to bring them in here and read them to you while you're sleeping at night.
Now, let Jim Harold do clown stories. We're not going to do any clown stories.
That sounds like a challenge. All right, so let's move on to this story that's not a clown story.
What?
So this is about some researchers who are looking for the mysterious Planet X, because they're always looking for Planet X, and they actually find a planet on the edge of the solar system that they're calling the Goblin, because that's a good planet name.
Hello, I am the Goblin. Goblins always sound like that to me.
Is that Goblin voice?
I always see him all hunched down and like a Smeagol looking, like just a. Because Smeagol honestly looked a lot scarier to me as Smeagol than he did as Gollum.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you finally saw that flashback and Smeagol had the hair combed down and he looked like Chester the Molester.
Right.
Like he was the one little hobbit that was touching all the other hobbits in the wrong place.
Right.
Or the right place or the wrong time. But it was just like, I hate that. It creeped me out. It was, oh, precious. Who gives it to me? It's mine. Yes. I don't know. That whole voice and anyway. Yeah, that's my Goblin voice. So that's what that planet sounds like.
Okay. Well, we'll remember that.
Okay.
So this planet is actually about 2.5 times the distance from the sun as Pluto. Like it's way out there, and it has a 40,000 year orbit. So,
wow.
I mean, just finding it was just unbelievable. And the reason that they are announcing this particular discovery is because...
It's like Game of Thrones. It's like when they have a winter, they have a real winter.
They do. They believe that because they found this object, that it offers compelling evidence for the existence of a Planet X that could possibly be out there.
Why is it every few months that something like this? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like the last few years, like
right.
10 years ago, they were like, you guys are all crazy with your Nibiru stuff, with your Planet X stuff. Get out of here. Get out of here. That's not an extra planet. And you know what? In fact, there's no extra planet, you Niberonians. There's also no Pluto. How about that? Pluto's not a planet. Pluto's a piece of like butt rock out there. It came out of Neptune's ass, and it's just out there just floating around. To hell with all of you. And then it goes back to about 7 years ago, and they're like, well, you know what? We've been thinking about it. Let me light this cigar. And seems like we may have been a little early on the Pluto thing. We were a little bit pissed. Sorry about that. We have short tempers here. We're always baffled, and it gets hard work.
Are they tired of being baffled?
It's hard work being baffled. Sometimes we like to give definites. It sucks when we have a field of theories. Everything we give, we have to be like, well, possibly if this happened, or this light reflected, or something happened here. This could happen. And sometimes we just get really pissed off about theories. So we just wanted to say, you know what? That's not a freaking planet. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't like that? Well, prove it. Why don't you get in your spaceship and go prove it? Ours just said it wasn't. So there, flipping you off 2 hands. So I think that some of this crap just comes every now and then. They want to give a story and they're just like, oh, you know what? Maybe there is a Planet X and here's the reason why. I don't know. I don't even read that story. Every few months, we get a story like this and it gets me excited. And then I never hear anything else about it.
I have to continue what I was saying and explain why there's the compelling evidence.
I'm leaving the room. You go ahead and finish.
You just take your headphones off for a second. All right. So the reason that they feel like this is compelling evidence is because they say that, they're very uniform in their coverage of the sky, and they find all types of orbits, but they seem to only be finding objects with similar types of orbits that are on the same side of the sky, which suggests that something is sort of shepherding them into these particular orbits in this certain place, which they believe could be Planet X. So that is what their study is about. Just have to point it out there because you never know. You can come back in now.
All right, I heard the word shepherd. And
there's a shepherd up there, a little sheepdog.
It would be more believable than whatever the hell they're trying to, whatever yarn they're trying to spin now.
One of these days they're going to find Planet X, and you're going to have to eat all your words.
You know what? I hope I do. I will sit there and eat a big bowl of my words because it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's always the same stuff. It's always like, well, this axis went. No, we don't know that.
I know.
We don't know that.
No, that's true.
It's just,
but you don't know that it's not.
I know.
So, you know.
Let's just move on.
Okay, let's move on. So here's a really interesting story about something that they actually found on Earth.
Oh.
They saw it, they found it. It's
An
real.
Earth story. Good.
It's a real
good.
thing.
All right.
So this was in the Iberian Pyrite Belt in southwestern Spain.
Oh my God, the Iberian Peninsula. I have DNA from there.
Well, in a surprise to scientists, they found something
Very
called
attractive people all in this area.
cyanobacteria have been found thriving nearly 2,000 feet below the surface of the Earth in this strange landscape where sunlight, water, and nutrients are very scarce. And they previously thought that, these microbes can only survive if they had sun.
Yes.
But they actually found out that they are thriving 2,000 feet underground.
Wait, didn't they figure that out in that like really deep toilet water? Do you remember that story, like in the cave, and they were like, "Oh my God, it smells horrible."
I think that's a different type of.
Yeah, and then they drilled down in that one frozen lake and also found that. So this is another one of those type of stories.
This is another one of those type of stories. Yes.
So they keep finding that life finds a way. Because it does.
Well, this particular bacteria that they're talking about, this cyanobacteria, it actually is responsible for pumping oxygen into the atmosphere.
Ooh.
That's its job.
Damn.
And it paves the way for
oxygen.
Yeah, life. Exactly. And so they feel like that now that they've found this, that proves that they could look and find this type of life on other planets, places like Mars. 2,000 feet.
How are they sure they didn't take it down there themselves?
Well, because they had control samples that helped the team determine that the microbes did not come from contamination due to drilling fluid or from processing in the lab. Like, they were very thorough. And it says that the cyanobacteria were not found in random locations like you would expect if it had been, contaminated in some way. Instead, they were congregating along the fractures of the rock, and they were actually eking out an existence, is what it says, in the tiny pockets of air that were that low, but there was no sun. So they were very careful to make sure it wasn't something that they had done to contaminate the samples. And they also confirmed that the cells were alive and not somehow just remnants that were down there. And I don't know, it just opens up a whole bunch of new questions and gives them something that they can actually look for on places like Mars and things like that.
I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
It's obviously there.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's the next thing coming.
I think so.
Any day. And I think so. We always knew that the life that they're going to present us with is microbial. But
yeah, I think so too.
But it gets us ready because that primes us. It's the second that we see, it was like when we saw the water, when we seen that there was water, we're like, oh, okay. Well, we were always told since we were children, if they find the water, there's life, because that's the building block. That is the building block for life. And then when you have any kind of life, no matter how small it is, it's life. And if that's there, true. It can mix with this and this and, Yeah.
Well, I feel like there are, like, when they discover life on other alien life, on other planets, it is going to be microbial, and that's going to be the way that they kind of ease people into.
I think there's creatures.
The thought of.
Yeah.
There's octopus up there.
Yeah. Well, I think that those octopus are smart.
Yeah. Didn't we just see a story about one that was doing something?
It's juggling and stuff.
Crazy.
It was juggling other animals it was seriously in the enclosure.
It was in a zoo or something.
Yeah, it was being a dick, and it was doing all this crazy stuff, and it started juggling like some of the sea life. Like it was.
Oh, it's awful.
I mean, these things are they're all brain.
I know. It's scary.
It is scary. It's really kind of cool. I mean, the way they can change colors and all this stuff. I mean, that was the smartest paper I've seen in a long time.
Right.
Where this is probably what the alien life looks like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, weirdly enough, Hollywood was already over it in 97. Yep. They already know. They already know. It's which I don't know. I think there's a lot of. I think a lot of the stories you see where there's whistleblowers saying, there's 67 races that visit, and I truly believe I don't remember the exact number they say.
Right.
But it's up there. So, I mean, I believe all that stuff. And they just got to come out with it eventually. So.
Right. Well, I mean, I feel like there's definitely more than one race because you have a lot of people that claim that there are aliens that look like us.
Yeah.
And then the ones that, everybody has different ways they look, but they're all similar accounts. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's grays and there's the ones that look like us and the reptilians and the giant whites and, a lot of different ones that you hear about quite often. I don't know, man. I just, there's not even a question in me. I really, there's not a question. And I think you have to watch hours and hours and hours of testimonials, and you have to go to these conventions like we've went to and meet people that's had these experiences that have risked their entire career and they're not really making money. I mean, people think you get rich and stuff. Man, you're not getting rich at these conventions. You're not. You're getting this and that. I mean, enough to get to the next place. Right. You're not getting rich. No. And I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's attention seekers. There always is.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's the same thing that makes me mad about people that have, I have a gift. There's some people that just completely lie and come up and tell you all this stuff that's going to happen and everything. That's why I don't do that. Right. But these people make me mad because they ruin it for everyone. And there's people that fake the UFO stuff. There's people that fake about ghost stories and everything. Pisses me off, Yes. But I believe in a lot of these people, though. I believe a lot of these stories, and especially the abduction stories.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I mean,
sightings can be mistakes. Right. And I believe probably, Stacey, 90% are mistakes or misidentified.
Sure. Just misidentified, or you can't identify it because it's too far away.
I truly believe that.
I believe there a lot of them are just us, like things we don't know, like black projects and things like that. Yeah, absolutely.
But you also hear that excuse a lot. But then I remember shows in the late '80s where people were talking about, well, it's circular and had all these different colored lights, and people were like, "What's probably a black project?" But now it's been 30 years. Right. It probably wasn't. Right. But like some of the things that even happened to us, the lights over top us that we didn't remember again until like a couple weeks later, and we were doing a show and we were like, oh my God, we saw that craft that was over top of us and there was light and we didn't remember it happening. Things like that are out there. So I don't know. It's just interesting to me. I totally buy it. I totally believe it. But if you don't, that's your prerogative. But I would encourage you to take some time first and go look up Bud Hopkins and watch some of his, cases and, check out that kind of stuff first before you totally make up your mind.
All right. Well, let's move on. And this next story is sort of just a little bit of an update. And this is about the interstellar space object again. Yay. The one that came flying through.
Yes. Hurled around. Yes.
Well, this story is about how scientists, the headline says that scientists actually found the home of where it came from. Oh. But when you read the article, they didn't pinpoint it exactly, but they were able to take some new data that they got from Gaia, which is the European Space Agency's Gaia probe. And they were able to get a lot more detailed information and trace it back and narrow it down to about 4 different stars. And one of those stars has something that ejected this towards our solar system. So they think that this is where they think that it's come from. Even though they don't know for sure, they're saying that the evidence suggests that the gravitational forces from a giant planet in orbit around one of these home stars ejected it more than 1 million years ago. And it just finally eventually ended up, I guess, traveling through our solar system. But like I said, this is just the newest information. I mean, it is totally possible that it was from much further away. Wow. And it just happened to come near these stars. And so they think that's where I know. Isn't that crazy that traveled through our solar system? It's that old.
Think about that. Those people could have been trying to escape a cataclysm, and they could be in a state of frozen, like far ahead of us. They could be in a frozen state, traveling to some destination, or they could be dead, just a ghost ship, You know, I believe it was a craft.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, just from the shape and all the interest in it. You know, they had to explain all the interest in it. Yes, it's interesting that a rock came in, interstellar rock, but seems like it wouldn't be as much interest,
right?
You know, as the fact of the way this thing shot around these planets, and I don't know, man, just the path of it, right?
I agree, and I think that I mean, I know they want to know where it came from, but I'm with you. Like, it's like they're trying too hard to explain where it came from and what it was doing. And, you know, because it came through, it's gone. It didn't hit Earth. So for the most part, people are like, yeah, you know, that's cool. Great. It's gone. We'll never see it again. They're still having to
spend funds on it.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's, I truly believe we had an encounter there. I mean, yeah, it had never happened before. I fear that sometimes, because the wealth of information that comes to us on a daily basis with politics and news and controversies and new shows and hit movies and what, you know, celebrities are doing now and who's showing their butt on their Instagram, I believe that the sheer volume of stuff that comes at us makes us desensitized to things.
Right.
I truly believe if that had happened in 1985, that we would have talked about it until 1988.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it would have been something.
It would have been in the newspaper.
Oh, there would have been a cartoon for kids. There would have been, you know, I'm just saying it would have been the hugest deal ever, right? And it was a big deal, but I don't think it got the attention it should have got.
Right.
Because we had, for the first time ever that we know of, I'm sure it's not the first time ever, but for the first time that we know of, recorded evidence of an interstellar object that came from outside of our own galaxy, and came in and shot around and boomeranged and used these forms to speed up, and it was foreign to us, and you know, doesn't belong here. And the shape of it also matches some shapes we've seen in and around, you know, witnesses and cigar shaped type stuff, and cylinders and things we've even seen on some solar footage before, looking like it's, you know, sucking off our sun a little bit. I don't know. It's very interesting to me. It will remain very interesting to me. I'm sure they know more about it. Somebody knows more about it than we're being told, you know. Just very interesting, man. I would love to know what it was.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
But, I mean, yeah, there's no way to know for sure. It's gone now, unless it comes back. Now, if it comes back, that'd be something.
Yeah, I don't know. I truly think it was full of... I think it was a ship. I do.
All right, well, let's move on. So I just wanted to hit up this other sort of update as well. And this is about an episode of Forbes Under 30 Summit. And on this Under 30 Summit was Kyrie Irving.
Oh,
because, you know, he came out last year and did the flat earth thing.
Yes.
So he was on here doing an interview, and I'll link to this interview. You can watch it. And
was it a round table?
No. He actually sort of apologized for his whole infamous, you know, endorsement of flat earth. And what he said was that he claimed that his comments were intended to inspire people to, quote, do their own research. And, you know, they were questioning whether he really believed that in the flat earth theory or not. And he explained that, you know, at the time he was really huge into conspiracies, and he joked like everybody's been there, you know, like he was watching a lot of YouTube videos. He was going down the rabbit hole. Right. We know how that goes.
Right.
We know how
it's
that goes.
It's easy to do.
Right. And that's when he said all that stuff about, you know, the earth was flat. And he even did the commercial. We did the story about how he did the commercial with the shoes and spun the flat earth and all that stuff. And then he sort of started distancing himself from it. He actually apologized to some science teachers who were upset that he had introduced this idea to kids who were very impressionable because, you know, he's a basketball star.
Yeah.
So what he said was, regarding conspiracy theories, he mused that even if you believe in it, you know, just don't come out and say it out loud, because people are going to think you're kind of crazy. So, you know, the whole interview was him sort of apologizing for it, but he never actually said that he didn't believe in the flat earth theory.
Right.
He basically just apologized for making it so public.
Right.
You know, because... and
it's weird they got on his butt and made a special about it just to talk to him. And
well, I don't think that's what the special was about, but of course it came up.
Right.
Because of all the controversy that was around it. And it was weird that he said the thing, you know, about, you know, it's okay if you believe in that kind of stuff, just don't say it in public is basically what is the message he's giving here.
Right.
And so they made it sound like he apologized for endorsing the flat earth theory, but he really apologized that it had such an impact. He didn't really apologize for believing in the flat earth, and he never really said that he didn't.
Right.
You know, he never really retracted that particular belief.
Well, good for him.
So it was a very good thing for him to do. I think it kept him, you know, good in the eyes of the public, but
right.
he didn't actually have to go against what he supposedly believes. So
it was caca.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way.
Well, I think he did good though, walking the fine line there. You know, being a basketball star, because he is impressionable. To young children.
Listen, young children. No flat Earth. The Earth is hollow. It's opened at both ends. There's a reptilian race that lives in there, and there's some giants when you first get in there.
You know, it could still be flat and hollow.
Could it?
It could be like a disc with a hollow place in the middle.
No, because then you wouldn't have the top and the bottom holes. They wouldn't be poles.
I'm just saying.
No.
I don't believe the Earth is flat. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No. I mean, my biggest thing for all that is it's stupid.
I just like some of the
overwhelming amount of evidence that, and listen, I've made a career out of not saying things are stupid.
Right.
A career. There has been things that people have said to us that I've just looked them straight in the eyes and go, wow, that's cool. Holy damn.
Right.
But I just can't do it anymore. Not with the flat Earth. Listen, there is not a flat Earth.
Does that mean we should tear up your application to be one of the guards at the edge of the world?
I'm just saying. If it is flat, please let me be the guard at the edge. I just want to guard the Rainbow Bridge.
All right. Well.
Okay, look, I apologize. I'm not going to be like that. I don't know. That's the whole thing that we go with. Right. We don't know.
We don't know. We really don't. But going forward, Kyrie Irving is...
If it is flat, what's on the bottom?
Kyrie Irving's message is, I don't know, is to not talk about it in public. That's his message going forward. It does mention in here, though, about an Australian government worker. And I did see this article. We didn't really talk about it, but they were sent home for talking about conspiracy theories during their break. It was a woman, and during her break, she would talk about conspiracy theories at her job, and her boss sent her home, and she sued them and actually won.
Wow.
Because, you know, I don't know, I guess they thought she was insane, and they
I'll promote you.
Sent her home from her job.
I'm just kidding. If any of my employees are listening, I will not promote you.
You're going to get all kinds of conspiracy theories at work now.
There's already conspiracy theories at work, and they're all around me about me.
All right. Well, let's move on to this next story. This is really an interesting story, and this is about something very mysterious that happened to 3 college students. So you're going to like this story. So these 3 college girls, and this is in Phoenix.
Sounds like a joke.
This is in Phoenix. They decided to go on a hike one day, and they were going to Dreamy Draw Mountain.
What? It's called what?
Dreamy Draw Mountain.
That was named after somebody who just dropped some LSD.
Well, this is in Phoenix.
Who goes hiking in Phoenix? It's like 190.
It is, but this is actually a mountain, and I saw it on the news story, and you just walk up and you can see.
Yeah, hike.
It's not like...
Got it.
It's not like terribly pretty scenery, but you know, you walk up this rocky mountain. So they decided to go on this hike. Well, when they got up that morning, you know, it was not the best morning. Like, they slept past their alarms. They had to rush. When they got there, it was much later than they planned. It was really hot. They weren't
Phoenix.
They weren't really sure they wanted to do it, but they decided, you know, we're here. We planned this. You've done that. Like you
many
don't
times.
really feel like doing it, but you go, you're there, you're going to force yourself to do it and have fun.
Every time I do something. Yeah.
So that's how they decided. That's what happened to them that morning. So they started up on their hike and they're walking. And as they're walking, they could see up kind of towards the top of the mountain. And they saw this weird figure up there, like this shape of a man standing up at the top of the mountain.
Michael Moore? Or?
No. It's just a man that looked like he had long hair and it looked like he was wearing a robe. And one of the girls even joked. She was like, yeah, it was Obi-Wan Kenobi. Help me, Obi-Wan. She was joking that the guy looked like Jesus because he had long hair and was wearing a robe. And I
would have went with Obi-Wan.
They could only see the silhouette at the top of the mountain. They thought it was really strange, but they continued on their hike. So when they got to the top of the mountain, the guy was gone. Like he was nowhere to be seen. They didn't see him coming down. He wasn't up at the top of the mountain. It was just very strange. It was a very strange sighting. So when they reached the top, they were standing there and there was these rocks. And
so they saw a hooded.
It wasn't hooded.
Okay, they saw a Jesus-looking dude in a robe. At the top of a mountain. There are 3 college girls, and they kept walking up the mountain out west in Arizona.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't look menacing, I don't suppose. Just a man standing. It could have been anybody. Could have been
just a man in a robe with a big beard.
Yeah. Anyway,
long hair.
So when they got to the top of the mountain, they thought it was really strange that there wasn't anybody up there. So there was a pile of rocks, and stuck in the middle of the rocks was an envelope. So they picked the envelope up, and on the front of the envelope it said, "Do you believe in angels?" on the front of the envelope, right? So when they opened it, there was like this letter. This really long letter, and
from Michael Landon.
It was typed, and basically it was just this guy saying that he really liked this spot. It was very inspirational to him. He liked to come there, and he calls it his Jesus Rock, and God's been really good to him, and he liked to come there and give God his glory. And even if you're not a Christian, I hope that you find this, and so on and so on. It was just a long letter like that. And it ended with like a Bible verse from Proverbs, and in the envelope with the note was $300. 3 $100 bills. And, it said something essential like, I've been blessed, so I hope this blesses you if you found this. And if you found it, I think, God sent you to get it and whatever. And so they were just blown away. They had no idea where it came from. They saw that weird, mysterious man. And then they had this envelope there was 3 of them and 3 $100 bills in it with this note about being blessed.
So what do they do with the $100 bills?
They're actually saving it. I think on the news story, they said that they were going to try and use it to do something nice.
I was hoping it was a parable here. I was hoping like the one girl took it to a strip club. The next girl used it to buy seeds.
Well, I mean, who knows what they really did with it? They said they were going to use it to pay it forward and try to do something good with it since, this guy wanted it to bless somebody.
Yeah.
And, they felt like they, were part of this little weird mystery, and it was kind of a miracle. They saw this figure and then they found that. It is very strange. Out in the middle of...
No, it's very strange. They saw Jesus.
They did. And then Jesus gave them $300.
No, I mean... It's interesting.
Mm-hmm. It is very interesting.
I would like to know about the bills and stuff, like if there's anything special with the serial numbers or...
I don't know. I mean, they were holding it on the news story, like they were showing it. I'm assuming it was the exact same one that they found. They did have the letter with the envelope, and it was just a really interesting story. And I liked it because, we've met people before that we didn't think were human of this earth. Angels. Kind of people. Yeah. Yes. So I totally believe in that, if that's really what it is. And I think that they felt like, after they had this terrible morning.
We've met people that disappeared afterwards. Do you remember? On the street.
I do remember the one man.
In the studio.
The beggar man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm. Interesting stuff. But, I think that they felt better after that. And they had this terrible morning, and then they did this, and they felt like they were blessed and possibly saw an angel. Who knows? I
feel blessed every time I give something to somebody that needs it. Mm-hmm. And so I get it. I mean, it's I think you really, it's almost like playing a video game. Mm-hmm. You get to gift the blessing.
You do.
I truly feel, that when I give something, that I feel the blessing. Mm-hmm. Because especially when you go out of your way, especially when you're feeling bad. Mm-hmm. and you don't feel for any, no way, shape, or form do you feel like doing what you're doing.
Right.
And there's so many other things you could use this money for. But instead, you give the money to somebody that they may need it, they may not. You have to take that chance sometimes. But still, when you do it, and they're not expecting it, they're expecting $1 or something. You give them $20, something where they can actually get a meal and everything, and you thank them, and you're not scared to touch them. As funny as that is, it reminds me of this Doctor Who episode, first or second season. I think it was second season of the new launch with David Tennant, actually, when they go to the new Earth.
With the hospital.
The hospital, when they hugged people.
Yeah, well, they all had those diseases, and then they had the cure, and they made them pass it along by touching. Yes.
And they just wanted to be hugged real. That was like,
nobody ever touched them.
Yeah,
before.
no one ever touched them, and they longed for it so bad. I know that's a weird way around that,
right?
But sometimes when I stop and give money to a veteran or something, and shake their hand and put my hand on their shoulder, you see this light up. That human interaction.
Right.
Treating someone with respect and like they are somebody, and it instantly feel like a blessing there. So I do believe absolutely that there's things like this out there that are way beyond our understanding.
Yes, I do. I think that we've actually, like you said, we've come into contact with one or two.
I believe so.
Yes.
With some of the things, we've been through to be where we're at now, there's been something helping along the way. So
yes. So interesting story. All right, well, let's move on.
Okay.
So this is kind of a cool story about a young girl, 8-year-old, who discovered a 1,500-year-old Viking sword.
Yes.
In a Swedish lake.
Oh.
Isn't that cool? I kind of want to go to Sweden just so I can find a Viking sword.
Of course I want to go to Sweden.
So an 8-year-old girl over the summer in Sweden accidentally discovered a Viking sword estimated to be 1,500 years old. So her name is Saga Banacek.
So cool. Her name's Saga.
Yeah.
What a great name.
So she's a former resident of Minneapolis, but she was in southern Sweden. She was
Saga
skipping stones.
Is a great name.
It's awesome, isn't it? It's a great name. And she discovered a sword stuck in like the muddy clay. And so her father contacted an archaeologist the next day to kind of inspect it because it looked very old to him. And the archaeologist determined that it was from the Iron Age, which is roughly 1,500 years old.
How good of people are they? Contact archaeologists.
It is. And not only
my story would have been...
Well, not only did they contact the archaeologist, but she found it over the summer, and they just now told the press because they didn't want a lot of people running out to the location and stomping around and digging and messing it up. And so some museum researchers went to the area to inspect, and they actually discovered another prehistoric object, a brooch from around the same time period as a sword. So they speculated that the area could have possibly been a place of sacrifice, or they don't really know. They've only found a couple things. But I thought it was really cool and astute of them to find it and then not just immediately be like, oh, hey, look what I found right here. Everybody come, mess up the area.
Right.
So, but that's really cool. And what a cool story.
Did she get money for it?
It doesn't say. I don't know. It didn't. I don't even have on here what she did with the sword. They did say that the sword was the first of its kind ever to be found in Scandinavia. So it's pretty significant. And she got a really cool story out of it, some news coverage and some cool pictures.
Very cool.
I'm hoping that they just donated it to a museum or something.
Freaking Scandinavia, man. It's so crazy. They updated my DNA and they updated a lot of people's DNA.
Yes.
And not a single drop of my DNA comes from actual UK or comes from England, like proper England.
Right.
But Scandinavia, Germany, and there is Welsh, but Irish, the big things are Scandinavia, Irish, Scottish, and German.
Yes.
And, it's...
And you always have that just tiny, tiny bit South American.
Yeah,
Native
this one's
American.
weird. This one, it's not Polynesian like we had before.
Amazon.
Yeah, they've pinpointed it because they've got the new whatever.
Right.
It's 1% of indigenous.
That's it.
Yeah, indigenous Amazonian. Mm-hmm. So, lost city of gold kind of crap.
Yes. So one of your ancestors went on a trip or something. I don't know what happened. Looking for gold, probably.
Or some kind of hallucinogenics. It's the more likely thing.
Well, I don't know if you mentioned this to everybody, but, we did the thing. I don't know if people know you can do this, but we did the Ancestry DNA, but then we downloaded the DNA profile and uploaded it to other sites that do free DNA, and it all came back basically the same.
They were basically the same.
Yeah.
It's amazing how pinpointed my area is.
Yeah, it's interesting just to get that confirmation, though, because all the different sites use different ways of doing it. But
the cool interesting thing for me was there was absolutely no England. There is Welsh.
Right.
There was no England whatsoever. That was interesting to me. But it was very much every other European area.
Right.
And of course, there was that one, as I was talking earlier, the Iberian Peninsula. There was like the 5% Iberian, which is Spanish kind of thing. So there again,
very European.
Gold.
It's all about the gold.
Gold and the Amazonian. It is kind of weird, and it's like all the treasure places.
It is kind of strange. That's because you're basically Scandinavian.
Yeah.
You're basically a Viking, and
I went everywhere
trying to get the gold.
Had relations.
All right. Well, here's a story I just kind of wanted to mention. This is from people.com, and I thought this was really interesting. And sort of for the Halloween season, they actually did this piece called The Haunted States of America, Iconic Ghosts of the Union. So what they did was they took every single state and they tried to pick what they thought was the most interesting or, most well-known ghost story from that particular state. So, of course, a lot of things got left out because they only did one from every state.
So they did Bell Witch in Tennessee.
They did, yes.
So they did the lighthouse with the guy who killed his wife in Maine.
No, they didn't.
Really?
No, that's not the one because they actually asked around. I think they asked around in their
monastery
office. No, they actually did Loon Pond.
Are you serious?
Yes, because it's supposed to be the home of the ghostly three-legged husky-type dog.
Oh my God!
Glows.
That's the pond that I took you to.
Yes, that's why I
oh my God!
Because Loon Pond is the one.
Yes.
Next to the Belladonna. Yeah. That's why I thought you'd think that was really interesting.
Have you told that story on the show before?
I think that we have. Let's just recap it.
Okay, go ahead. That's weird.
I'm pretty sure.
The whole time we were up there, I never seen anything that talked about that being haunted.
I know, and now it's in People. So I think we did talk about this, but I'm just going to mention it again. That you were driving home from work one day, and you like to take all your back roads, and you always took John always takes different roads wherever he went because it was so pretty in Maine. He always wanted to see everything. So one night he's driving and he goes past this area, Loon Pond, and he saw a figure of a woman, which is not an unusual occurrence. This does happen. A lot of times he'll just look at me and be like, "Do you see that person?" And I'll be like, "No." And he'll say, "Okay." It's a ghost. But he saw a woman and she was saying belladonna, and she had on really old clothes, like the high necked dress and down to her ankles and, very, old timey. And it was very quick, drove by, and she just said belladonna. So of course he immediately called me because that's usually what happens. And he told me where he was, and I looked it up and told me what he saw. And so I kind of was doing a little bit of research on it, and, you can find stuff about belladonna back in that particular time period. It would have been something that, was used as a beauty product, but it is also poisonous if you ingest too much. So, we were just trying to figure out why she could possibly be saying belladonna. Maybe she, that's how she died or whatever. We weren't sure. So it went on, and I was still researching it. It's been a couple days, and I looked at the map and I noticed that it was Loon Pond. And I was looking around, and there's a road that kind of goes near where he was driving at the time. And it just so happens that the name of the road is Belafonda Road. And so we were like, oh, that has to be what she was saying. It has to be Belafonda. So we actually went back to that area before we moved, and we drove all the way down Belafonda Road, which was very creepy
but
road.
then we went across the street and we got on the dock and we took a bunch of pictures. It was really eerily quiet.
Yes.
And we stood on Loon Pond for a long time. And then we came back there again. And that's also the place that I pulled off the road and called you one morning.
Right.
And I took video. I said, will you look at this? And it looked like, I told you it was like fairies were flying around. I was like, do you see, and I took video. It was a very compelling video.
Yes.
There was like a bunch of things flying around acting strange.
It seemed like a lot of stuff kind of happened right in that area. It was very interesting. But that is the one that they picked out.
That's very weird.
I don't know who they asked or where they looked, but that is the area that they picked for the ghost story in Maine.
That's very weird.
They did do the Bell Witch in Tennessee. I thought a couple other ones I picked out that I thought were interesting. You know what they did for Kentucky?
The Kentucky State Theater?
No. Oh, come on.
I'm
Favorite place.
Waverly Hills.
Yes, of course, Waverly Hills is the place in Kentucky. In Connecticut, which I thought was really interesting, they actually mentioned the favorite place of Ed and Lorraine Warren, Union Cemetery, which is the home to that spirit that supposedly had the red eyes, where they'd see the red eyes glowing. So I thought it was interesting that they picked that one. And here in Virginia, I looked up Virginia as well because I was curious. It's the Edgar Allan Poe Museum.
Oh.
So it's reportedly
that's in
very
Virginia?
Haunted. Yes, that
Why is that not in Baltimore?
I don't know. Maybe Baltimore and Virginia are very close. Maybe it's because it's just the museum. So possibly. It says it's built around 1754.
I bet Monticello is haunted.
Probably. I went there when I was a kid.
Did you?
Yeah. We did all that historical stuff.
So they've obviously never been to Major Grand Mansion then.
No, obviously not. Obviously not. But it's a cool piece anyway. And, you can go on there and look and see what they claim is the iconic ghost story for every state.
Yeah, there's the iconic and then there's the real haunted place that no one knows about. Right. Like the Bell Witch thing is crap, right? So you're not going to find anything there. But by God, if you go to the old bank building in Kingsport, Tennessee, you're going to find a portal to hell. And you're not even going to find the building by what I just said.
No.
If you go to Newport, Cott County.
Of course.
Cott County Memorial Building, baby. Season 2 of the Ghost Brothers. Watch that one. My story. That's the most haunted building in the state of Tennessee.
Yes.
And you can kiss my butt if you think different. With all due respect, I love you, whoever you are. But that building it's got the bad mojo.
It does. It does. I feel like they just use that story because it's the most famous story.
Yeah.
Bell Witch, because it's the most well known.
Well, you said iconic.
Yeah. But
there's nowhere really to investigate for the Bell Witch. You gotta I don't like things where you just have to go to a field, and unless like Gettysburg, that better been on there for.
I actually don't. I don't have that one written down.
Yeah, Gettysburg would have been a big one.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, I have a couple of more stories here for us. So this one's kind of interesting. It's about dolls.
Yummy.
Creepy dolls.
All dolls are creepy.
So this is about residents of a city in Russia that are feeling rather unsettled.
Nesting dolls?
No. There are dozens of creepy dolls that have been placed throughout their community overnight. And what made them so creepy is some of them had like pins sticking in them. They were nailed to things. And some people claim that it's, a curse has been put on the village.
Go home, Russia.
Now, when I say creepy dolls, I mean like mannequins.
Oh.
Yeah, not like little tiny baby dolls. I mean like big dolls.
Somebody came and scattered mannequins around the town?
Well, so they called the police, and the authorities that investigated, they believe they determined the origin of the dolls, but they don't know who left them around the city. So according to this police report, the mannequins were once part of a museum display, but they were recently discarded. And the facility's security guard took them thinking that his daughter, who is a teacher, might be able to make use of them in her classroom.
Right.
But the dolls were deemed too creepy by school officials, and so they were tossed in the trash. So that's the last anybody's heard of them. They thought that they threw them away. So someone, they don't know who, got them out of the trash. And of course, the guard's daughter declared she had absolutely nothing to do with it.
Right.
But that someone got them out of the trash. They stuck needles in them, made them look like voodoo dolls. Have no idea. And they just put them up all over the village. This is the strangest thing.
That is crazy.
So the police obviously are still looking. These people are not going to get into trouble because, putting dolls in public areas is not technically a crime.
Right.
And they didn't steal them, really.
Right.
They got them out of the trash. But it was just really strange, and it really did spook everybody.
Yeah, you would have known if I did it, because it would have been like, this just in. Seems in the community, we have discovered and woke this morning to the horrific scenes of dolls in compromising positions.
That would be the problem. They wouldn't look like voodoo dolls if you had them.
Throughout the city. The male dolls seem to have one hand on their hip with a leg hiked up on a chair.
We're not sure where the chairs came from. Oh, wow.
The most confusing one was the one with 3 males and a female. It took us a while to figure out what the formation was, but we called in a Kama Sutra specialist, Dr. Sing Hong, who was able to tell us what exactly was happening.
You know how you get out of something like that if you get caught? You call it art.
Yeah. Yeah, I would still be there admiring it.
Like, why don't these mannequins have any clothes on? I don't understand.
Oh.
All right, one more story. You're going to love this one.
I love all of them.
So this is from Louisiana. And the authorities say that they have arrested a man on a drug and false reporting charges after he told them that a ghost planted meth on him after he was attacked with an axe. By
a ghost?
I don't know. So this man called the police.
Right.
Okay. And he said he'd been attacked with an axe. And he said that someone stabbed him in the head with a bladed weapon. So the police obviously went to his house and they were like, oh my God. So this guy is at the front door and he was cursing at people who were not there. And the deputies say the man was not calm. He was cursing at them too. So they put him in handcuffs.
I want a friend on meth.
Just for safety's sake, And they looked over him and they said they didn't find any indications that he had been struck or stabbed with anything. And so they decided to, just take a look in his house, make sure there wasn't really somebody in there swinging an axe at him. And when they went inside, they didn't find any intruders. However, there was a small bag of meth in plain view on the nightstand. And they also found a gram of meth on his person. So when they asked him, he said that the intruders or a ghost planted that meth there, that it wasn't him, that whoever was trying to kill him with the axe left the meth there. I mean, you never know. It could be a ghost. So
I'm going to feel really, really bad if this guy gets put in jail.
They arrested him.
And then they find him with like a big axe wound in the middle of his head. You got to take these things serious. Have you never watched a horror movie?
Meth on his face. I know.
This guy probably was a lawyer 2 weeks ago.
It could have been. This is like a supernatural episode.
It really is.
This is something they'd be reading right now going, that sounds like us.
I really want a friend on meth. I mean, meth is a terrible drug, but I want a friend that's on bath salts or something. Just somebody that calls me in the middle of the night just to keep me entertained.
As long as they're not in the house because they'll eat your face or something.
Yeah, just somebody that calls me in the middle of the night, just like, John, the Sasquatch is back. He's knocking on the door. Just somebody I could go over to the house, you know what I mean, and just stand outside their window and just be like, Thomas. Oh, that'd be so much fun.
Yeah. See, the problem with that is you couldn't ever have a friend like that over because Ariana's stuffed animals, talk and stuff. And it would weird somebody on meth out too much, I think.
I think it weirds people out that are not on meth. Like, we've encouraged that behavior and we all have given them voices. And we're fairly confident that 2 of them are possessed by actual spirits. And they always have been.
We've given them such life.
Well, no, Bee and Purple Monkey are totally possessed by spirits.
I think so.
let Purple Monkey stare at you.
Hey, I found him in bed a couple times.
Yeah.
I got there.
They're creepy, and they just have these personalities, and it's their personalities.
Yes.
And she was doing their voices and talking like middle-aged man jokes. And we have kept her 100%. She's the purest, sweetest, not being exposed to anything bad. But by God, she was 4 years old doing the funniest jokes. And it was always dad humor. But but she had that deep voice for B, and the bear, and he'd just be like, hey, what are you doing? Man, it's so sarcastic.
Can kids be born with like instinctive dad joke humor? I mean, is that a thing?
I don't know. She's definitely got something, and it's beautiful though. We've had such a great time with it.
Yes,
I love being Purple Monkey.
Yes.
I'm gonna be sad when they're gone someday. Like, I believe that I'm harmful now because I think I keep it going.
Nah.
No, they're fine.
They're fine. All right. Well, that's all my news.
Thank you. All right. Well, that was some good stuff and some weird stuff.
Yes, definitely some weird things.
Yeah, some weird things. It was interesting. I think that we went through a whole episode with no bloodsuckers.
Yes, amazingly enough.
That's
no clowns.
Yeah, no. What is it with you and the clowns?
Well, it's Halloween. There's always like 9 million clown stories now.
Dude, clowns are not necessarily associated with Halloween. Okay?
It usually ramps up about now, though.
Yeah, well, once it did. That's it. No more. It's not even in vogue anymore.
You're like, don't keep saying it or it's going to happen. It's like saying Beetlejuice too many times.
When does It 2 come out?
I don't know. I can't wait to see it, though.
I know. It's going to be so good.
Good, yeah.
It's like the other part to the story, like where they're adults, right?
Yes, when they're adults.
Have you read the book?
Yes.
Okay, I know you own the book.
It's been a long time, but yes, I've read it. And I really like that they split it up into 2 movies because that just makes it where they can devote more time to each part.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that movie's so good.
It was very good.
It was, I'm glad that Stranger Things came out because it gave that whole 80s vibe. Because that other movie we watched, the one, what was it? The kids from the 80s again. It was a small release. Cody's going to kill us.
Yeah.
Because I can't think. He's the one that brought it over.
Yeah, but it's really good.
It was really good. There you go. We'll have to post that on the website. Give our review. It's, the new Halloween movie. I got to go see that too. Because I wasn't too over on The Nun, but it was good though. It was good. It was good. It was okay. It was all right. It was no Predator. No, but I went to go see Predator twice. Predator was good. That was really great. But if you want some cool Halloween stuff, and guys, send us some ideas. By the way, if you want some Halloweeny type stuff, send us some quick ideas. But if you want some of that, you can find it at paranormalsideshow.com. That's where you'll find everything Halloween. On facebook.com/paranormalsideshow. There's more Halloweenies there. On the Twitter, it's at Sideshow97. There's some big, long Halloweenies. On Instagram, Hot Weenie Dam, it's John and Stacey Edwards. And patreon.com/paranormalsideshow. That's where you go donate to the weenies. And tell you what. Does that make us the weenies? Oh, we are the weenies. From my lovely weenie, Stacey, my name's John. So long from the Sideshow. Good night. Hey guys, if you like what you've heard, please check out ParanormalSideshow.com and follow the links for our weekly podcast. Also, become a Sideshow off yourself and pick one of our killer levels on our Patreon to help support the channel and help keep us bringing you bigger and better content. So until next week, for my lovely wife Stacey, I'm John Edwards. So long and stay strange.